Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Coaching Uncovered podcast. My name is Chris Berry, and I'm going to be your host for today. Joining us, we have Lisa Kramer. Lisa, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing amazing, enjoying my Monday morning, and excited to talk about some coaching businesses. So,
Yes.
before we get into details of your coaching business, what you do, and the details of it, can you go ahead and just give everyone who's either listening or watching an overview of what you coach people on?
Okay. I am what I'm calling, I don't even call myself a coach really. I call myself a creativity facilitator. And basically what that means is that I help people, whether it's individuals, groups, companies, whatever, kind of tap back into the playfulness and creative stuff that we all have, but often don't use anymore or are told are not worthy. And I sometimes I'm one-on-one. Mostly I do coaching in writing or theater or bringing communities together. Basically, my idea, my purpose is to make people realize that the powerful tool that we have, that we all have, regardless of whether we're wealthy or whether we're not, or we have a title or anything, is within us, and that is the ability to be creative. And that a lot of us don't use that anymore. And I'm also about creative collaboration, where it's like creativity isn't done like alone in a room. It's about people connecting with other ideas and with each other and working across disciplines. And so I'm kind of a all over the place creative coach. That's what I call myself.
Absolutely. Well, it's something that's so needed, as you even alluded to a second ago,
Mhm.
because it seems that with social media and everything, and it's so easy just to go ahead and use that creativity, it's not as used as much anymore. So it's
Right.
definitely something that's been needing in regards to growth over however many years, right? We'll call it, of everything going on in social media. So before we kind of continue, because I could probably ask you a million questions, because I am very intrigued about
I can
creativity
answer a million questions. It's okay.
and even about the neuroscience behind how creativity occurs and everything. But before I get too ahead of myself,
Mhm.
how did you get started in this space and why?
Well, I am from the theater world. I'm a writer as well. I have a doctorate in theater. I have a PhD. I have an MFA in theater directing, and I mostly was teaching in academia.
Mhm.
Although I taught both inside higher education and like classes. The youngest student I ever had was 2.5, and the oldest student was like 86. So I've been teaching everywhere. And when the pandemic hit, I also was hitting a kind of um I guess I was burnt out. I was really burnt out. And then a combination of like being pushed back into a classroom that was going to be at that point risky to teach in and being only adjunct, so I didn't get it. Like there was a lot of politics behind it. There's a lot shifting in higher academics. I kind of went, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. So then I was thinking about what I love. And for me, when I say I'm in the theater, I love doing shows, but what was really um, became my motivating factor in theater is the power of the skills that you learn through doing theater. So not about making actors, not about putting on Broadway style productions, although that can be fun, but people discovering that kind of inner child that enabled them to apply it to outside of the theater world. I
Mhm.
often taught first year studies or whatever, what were they calling, liberal studies, where it was like a bunch of people who were creating their own majors. And I loved working with like science people who were like, I'm not creative. I'm not creative. And then I introduced a little creativity into the classroom, and all of a sudden their ideas expanded. And so looking at that and looking at what I love to do, it's about mentoring people to not just kind of put themselves in boxes, but to make their box huge. So I like to change the image because I think there's lots of boxes that we're in. Instead of going outside your box, you're just making your box bigger so that you can do more things, is the way I look at it. And um that passion led me to thinking, how can I do it? So I did a little training in creativity and what is it? God, well, in creative coaching, and I technically do, I mean, technically certified, but then I realized I'm not the kind of coach, and this is me, this is all vocabulary, and this is just me looking at the world. The way I look at many coaches, it's like, if you follow my path, then you're going to achieve XYZ. And when it comes to
Mm,
creativity or towards tapping into something that you're not used to, I can't guarantee things because it all comes from the inside. So I don't say I have the perfect path. I just have zillions of tools at hand to apply to your situation. So I basically craft things for any individual situation, which means if I'm working with a group, I might like introduce them to improv techniques and how to listen better and how to brainstorm better or different ways of brainstorm. Whereas I often work with individuals on writing. I have a workshop weekly where a bunch of us get together and I give a prompt. I set up a situation so that people feel comfortable writing, even if they don't think of themselves as a writer, and learn and grow that way from hearing good writing and from doing it themselves. So for me, it's all about kind of finding ways to trick yourself into doing something that you're afraid of.
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So you have all of these obviously different ways that led you into doing all this. And you even explained, the aspect of creativity, and even someone like a scientist who thinks that they're not creative, but
Yeah.
they really do understand that they are creative deep down. So as you've
Yeah.
been going through all of this and helping people understand their inner creativity, what have been some of your favorite parts of owning your business, and what have been some of the biggest challenges that you face inside of your business?
Well, within my business itself is uh, I'm not a great business person in the sense that I don't like sales. I don't
Mm,
like marketing myself. I mean, I love doing things like this. I love I have a YouTube channel. I love all of that element, but I'm much better at promoting someone else than I am at promoting myself.
right.
And I don't know if it's lack. I don't think it's lack of confidence. It's just that I'm a helper in that way. I will support somebody else's ideas and get it out there and spread it out. And I'll, um one of my early clients ended up writing a book that a children's book because of the work we were doing, and I was, it's won awards, so that's really exciting. But I find it hard to market myself. So I don't have a huge client load or anything. I tend to be word of mouth, case by case. Someone says, "Oh, you need to work with this person, with Lisa," and then have a conversation. And I'm also very flexible with my with how I charge, which I know is bad. But when a project is when I have a passion for the project or the person's goals, and I'd rather take a little less than not help them do it. So in that sense, I'm not world's best business person, and that's okay because for me, all of this is about trying to look at the world where money is not the goal. Money is the thing that supports the goal, which is a happier life, a more creative life, a more fulfilled life. So yeah, it means make sacrifices and haven't really figured it out yet, to be completely honest.
Well, it's a matter of you love the parts of your business when it comes to teaching people about
Yeah.
channeling their inner creativity, about doing all that
Yeah.
stuff. And some of the other aspects behind, the selling and the marketing and all of those aspects, it doesn't light you up as much as that does. And that kind of seems to be
Yeah.
a big challenge
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah. I mean, that's the reality. So
Yeah.
that's been the struggle. And so those, in that sense, there are the days that I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not doing anything. I mean, I'm working all the time on different projects and stuff, but it gets harder because there's so much out there. There's so many people selling out there. And every day I get another, hey, do you want to pay me and I'll help you do this, that, and the other thing, or hey, I'd like to talk to you, but only like it's the ooginess. That's the only word I can think of the exchange. And I'm all about talking to people. So usually my response is, I cannot afford your programs, but if you want to have a conversation so we can learn more and collaborate together and find a way to work together, that's fine. Because again, money isn't the bottom line. It's for me, it's building a community that is working towards a better world, and we need that more than ever now.
It's very
I,
true.
yeah, that's all I can say. It's more important now, and I'm not going to get rich from it, especially now. And the things are going to change rapidly, which will affect me. and my family and stuff like that. So figuring out, okay, so what's my role in this? And again, it's about, I guess in a way I should call myself a connector, creative connector. Like I'm about finding ways that I may not know the solutions, but I do know the people who know the solutions who can, you know what I mean? And believing that. So I'll figure it out and it works. It will work. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So kind of going on what you mentioned,
Mm,
the marketing and sales piece, that's a very common thing that I go ahead and I see
mhm.
as the biggest
Yeah.
challenges or the part inside the business that doesn't really light you up. So
Yeah.
as of right now inside of your business, what are you currently doing for that marketing piece in order to get clients into your business?
Mostly, like I said, it's a lot of word of mouth. I have a community called Spark Collaborative, which was growing for a while and then it kind of drifted off. I'm a partner in with someone else in that, and she's gotten busy and she does most of the technical side of that. So that I do videos. I mean, I do YouTube. I'm trying to get better at Instagram. I'm still figuring that one out. I just haven't mastered it yet. Um, I write I write blog posts, occasional blog posts on my own personal website, and I also have a Substack that I post, and then I post that on LinkedIn, and I post everywhere. You'll see me in I'm not consistent. I'm productive, and as in you'll find like it depends on my mood. I just
Yeah.
posted my own first video podcast with another play expert that he and I are going to do probably monthly conversations with people who are trying to be playful and creative, and I can send you his information if you want later. But so that was I just posted it last Friday, and that was fun. So I just do a little bit. I'm experimenting and playing with everything because I've done the ad thing. I've done book promotions. I do have two books out there and stuff like that. I do all of that, but nothing. I think in some ways I'm very niche, even though I'm important. I mean, that sounds so egotistical, but think the concept is really important, but people are going to find me when they need me. I'm not like earn $1 million in a day by being more creative because that's not the way it works. So that's what I do. I mean, I do a little bit of everything. When I have extra money, I might run an ad if I'm doing this, but I've done some free work. I do free workshops as well to try and get out there. I've started trying to expand my speaking opportunities. Some have come through, it's just a competitive world out there with everybody, especially now, more people working from home or creating their own business. It's really hard.
Absolutely.
It's
There's more
very hard.
competition, which
Yeah.
makes it more
Yeah.
difficult. From a marketing
Yeah.
perspective, you're doing obviously a lot of different things, but it sounds like the main thing, if we were to kind of bucket them together, is you're making a bunch of
Mhm.
content, social media,
Yeah.
blogs, all these different things, YouTube, and
Yeah.
then also word of mouth. And you said you
Yeah.
ran ads in the past, but not now, correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Yeah, you ran ads before, but that's not like something.
Yeah, I did when I first got trained for coaching, I did some ads. It's first that well, when you coach, you have to like get the initial free people or whatever. So I did some ads then to get the people, and then I ended up having a few other clients. But again, most of my clients, like I've had some I tend to take on bigger long-term projects than it's not like a regular one, every week kind of thing. And those have all come from just various community connections I already have. So I worked with uh University of Michigan. God, what's that? Madison, oh no, Wisconsin. In Wisconsin, it was a virtual one because of a connection I had there and things like that. And for my purposes and for the work that I do, I think that works well for me in that I don't want to necessarily be working for people who are going to bring me in to say, "Hey, show my team how to be more creative," and then they've done their development and they walk away and forget about it. I'd rather have a really personal relationship with the people I work with, or
Yeah.
really understand why they're trying to bring me in. Um, I had been talking to a friend who's in the medical field for a while and about more creativity and in medicine and more, not creativity so much, but more learning people skills, which creativity can, the theater skills can help teach people skills to doctors. And he's like, we need this, but the problem is they're so busy that you'd come in, you'd do a workshop, they'd go, this is great, but I don't have time to implement it, and they'd walk away. And I don't, that's gross. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I don't want to do that. So, you
Makes
know.
sense. Yeah. So you get these people that obviously are coming into your business, you
Yeah.
get whether it be word of mouth, whether it be your social posts, and they're like, yo, I'm kind of interested. This is really cool. Like channeling my inner creativity because I feel like I've lost that. You get on a
Yeah.
call with someone. What does that sales process look like? I know you mentioned that that's not your favorite part of it, but how do you go ahead and take
For
someone from
me,
interested
sales is
to it?
conversation. For me, my best aspect of sales is just having conversations, just talking to people and saying, what are you interested in? Finding out what their issue is. And then if I think that I have something to offer them, I will say, let me, it depends on the project. If it's a big project, I'm like, give me a week and I'll give you an outline of what I can do. We can talk about it then. If it's if it's somebody who's like just trying to find their voice again, I often will invite them to some of my already established workshops because that's the best way for them to see how I work
Mm,
and to see how the creative process works with me. So it's a very personal, just kind of let's have a conversation. And if it's just like, hey, you're cool. Hey, you're cool. I don't think we're gonna work together, then that's
yeah.
what I mean. It's okay. It's about meeting people. And again, it's about collaborating and finding that real need or having people understand. At least I like those conversations as well because I introduced a new concept to somebody that maybe the thing that's missing in my life is my own creativity or playfulness or whatever term. My terms change all the time because it's not just creativity, it's about being more fulfilled is really what it comes out to be. So yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. Well, I like that too because it's not as much as you said, it's a hard sale or anything. It's just let's have a
Mhm.
conversation. Where are you at? What are things that
Mhm.
I can go ahead and what really, where are you at? What problems are you facing? What's your desired outcome? Like, what are you trying to
Yeah,
accomplish? Like, can I help you get there? And if yes, great. And if you want to go ahead and do it, amazing. And if you're like, no, then that's all good. Like, I'm gonna go off and
that's
do
all
my
good. We had a great conversation.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And that's what I mean, that's where I think that I don't, well, it's not failure. It's just I value something more than the sale. I value
Mm,
that connection. So if you're looking at me in terms of is she a hugely successful, wealthy coach, well, then I'm a failure. But if you look at it in terms of with the people I work with, do I help them achieve really amazing things? Absolutely. And that's what's more important to me. Would I like to be rich? Or who wouldn't?
yeah,
But that's just, yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. So you've went ahead and we've kind of gone through the entire process. What you help people with, how you're generating the
Hmm.
leads. A person now gets on a call with you and they're like,
Hmm.
yes, I want to work with you. What are some
Hmm.
tactics that you use or just in general things you do with your clients in order to keep them both happy and get success?
Um, well, just like the key to any creative process is for me is flexibility.
Mm,
So one thing that I do is just be very flexible. I mean, I have these regular workshops that I do, and yet there's times that I can't do them, or there's
mm,
times that someone can't make it, and they've paid for them. So I try and make it really like give a price that's you can come as many times as you need, or like this flexibility in pricing. There might be like a drop in for a day to just have one session kind of thing. And it's also for me because it's about letting people find what their own voice is. So it's just a real awareness of what people need on a given day. So I
mm,
might have a plan like I'm going to do this today,
mm.
but if that's not going to suit the new needs of the people in the room, then I will switch it up. It's really that, and that is modeling how to work creatively because it's all about the only norm is change, and the only like there's no plan ever goes to plan exactly as you want it to be, and it's learning how to adapt to that. So I model what I practice what I preach. I try to. I'm not perfect at it. None of us are. I have doubts just like any person does. So sometimes, I'm hard on myself, but I can say, but you shouldn't be hard on yourself. I can be hard on myself. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? But I think people appreciate that. It's just coming in as my genuine me and saying, I'm having a really crappy day, but let's go for it. And we all usually discover something on those days. So that's
With
what keeps them coming back.
with
Yeah.
meeting them where they are and not just like, okay, you have to fit in this system. It's like, no, 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 like let's understand where you are and how do we
Yeah.
go ahead and get you the results based on that place where you're at now.
Right. And when I was originally starting this and had just been trained in a very specific system that belongs to a very specific person that follows, like, you have to do step one, step two. And I tried to do that, incorporating my own me into that. And I found it stifling myself. And like, how can you be creative if you're feeling stifled with your own process?
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference, because his process was very product oriented and my process is very process oriented. Not saying that product doesn't matter, but in my world, a good process has always led to a good product, always. So try and say, let's not focus on whatever that product is, but give you the tools to get there. And then whether it succeeds or not is sometimes fate, sometimes timing, sometimes it just is what it is. And what you can celebrate is that you did it. Like people who always say, I want to write a book, but never write a book. Well, if you write the book and it doesn't sell, you still wrote the book and you can celebrate that, says the author who has like 3 dead manuscripts. Like, all right now, but you know what I mean? I still celebrate that I wrote them. That's
Yeah.
important to me.
That makes sense. Well, I know I could probably go in a million different questions, probably even kind of get into the specifics, as I said, of creativity. But I know that the whole
Hmm.
purpose of obviously this thing is to better understand, coaches and what they're facing, everything like that. So
Yeah.
to go ahead and restrain myself for now, and maybe off camera, I'll go
Oh,
ahead and ask a question. But
like I said, I'll go with the flow. That's all about
yeah,
creativity.
exactly, exactly. See, practice. This is a person that practices what she preaches. So,
Mhm.
so with that said, as we begin to go ahead and wrap things up here, for anybody that
Mhm.
has really resonated with what you said, with your message, or she didn't like two things, like I want to connect with you, or number two,
Mhm.
like I want to become a client of yours. What's the best way for these people to go ahead and get in communication with you?
Um, there's a contact form on my website, which is the website is lisaakramer.com, I think.
Mm,
Exactly. I'm doubting this.
yeah.
lisaakramer.com. You can find me there. There's a website. There's a contact form there. They can email me directly at Lisa Kramer Creativity at Gmail.
Mm.
Um, LinkedIn's always good. I mean, I don't respond to everybody, or sometimes I'm a little curt if I feel like you're selling me something rather than
Yeah.
I'm selective how I do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm always looking. I love interactions on. I mean, I'm not on social media as much. I mean, I'm not on Twitter anymore. I haven't been for a while. I'm on, in terms of that, I'm on mm, Spoutable, and
Mm.
like, which is kind of Twitter-esque. So you can reach me there. I mean, there's many ways. Just do a search, knowing that here's a fun and side track. There's two Lisa Kramers with PhDs out there. The first
Mm.
Lisa Kramer is in economics. She's a very intelligent woman. She and I graduated from the same, with our PhDs from the same university at the same time, just two different fields. So we often get confused.
Yeah.
For each other. So I highly recommend, if you're looking for her, go for her. But she'll show up first, just because of the amount of stuff, talks and stuff she's done. So you just have to kind of. There's nothing I can do to change that. That thing. Also, I'll be number two probably, depending. So I add in creativity or writing or something, and you'll usually find me if you just do a search. Yeah.
Understood. Awesome. Well, Lisa, it was awesome having you on, and I look forward to the continued conversations in the future.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. It was fun to be here.
Absolutely. So, everyone, that is going to conclude this episode of the Coaching Uncovered podcast. I hope that you were able to get as much value as I did out of this episode. Two things that stood out to me from Lisa and what she was sharing. Number one was channeling your inner creativity, right? Every single person has that creative inside. And even as a funny little anecdote, even scientists, they have that creative, fun side behind it too. And oftentimes, given of just the busyness of life, of social media, of just growing up, we lose that inner child, as Lisa was mentioning. And I thought that was very impactful and insightful because there's a lot of value that comes from it. So that was point number one that I really enjoyed from Lisa. Point number two was sales being a conversation. It's not just take my money, like give me your money, take my product and jam it down their throat. No, it's having a conversation. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? How can I help you? And does it even match and align? Not only the fact of what I can provide to you and can I actually get you the outcome, but number two, do we even mesh? Like, do we want to work together? And I like that approach because I think that when you lead from a place of selling with service, everything becomes a lot easier and better. So those are the main two things that I took away from this episode. If you guys, once again, did enjoy this episode, make sure to go ahead and drop a like. If you are not subscribed, make sure to subscribe so you can see this and future episodes. And we look forward to seeing you here on the next episode of the Coaching Uncovered podcast.